We have an airbag light coming on the dash. So no communication with the engine airbag. Okay, that's the problem. I start the car. The car is a little bit noisy. I think it's got some other issues. The belt or something is noisy under the bonnet, but that's not what it's here for. Okay, so you can see maybe right there the airbag, not that one. That right in the middle, it says airbag, so the airbag light stays on constantly. It's a 2003 or 4 model, doesn't matter, 3 is fine. And it's a YZ Cruze. Okay, you can't find the Cruze up here. If you look down here, you'll see the YZ Cruze. Okay, that's what it's called, YZ Cruze. And let's just do a fault scan. I'll quickly show you one problem with the older vehicle here. This might be a quick tip for you guys. Let that scan. Okay, see, it's not scanning any of my computers. It's a manual gearbox, but it says automatic on the number 2 there. It's it manual, doesn't matter. So I'll fault scan again. It doesn't want to scan. So no communication. Sometimes when you do auto scan like that, you might get no communication fault. Okay, so this is not very uncommon. I have seen it with a lot of older vehicles. So don't worry about it too much if you don't have any communication like that. Sometimes all you got to do is go to the control unit individually, one at a time. Let's try the engine control module now and see. You can communicate now, right? No problem there. It doesn't have a transmission control module, it's a manual. So if you want to go to the chassis or body, chassis, let's try ABS module, right? So you can communicate, no problem there. Sorry, this one maybe doesn't have ABS. Maybe electric power steering. See, it communicates for us, right? So let's go back to the body, which is our problem. And airbag, we do not have a communication here. All right, this is what I was told by the other mechanic who brought the car to me anyway. So definitely looks like we don't have a communication. So see what I mean, guys? So if you do auto scan, it does not want to scan. So sometimes before you assume there's an issue with this network or whatever, always best to check with the control unit individually, or maybe sometimes you can go to OBD system, and maybe try it that way as well to confirm that we do or do not have communication, right? All right, let's go back to my scan tool now, and let's go to body, airbag, that's what we're dealing with. So no communication. This is where we at, guys. Okay, no communication. I cannot go into the airbag control module. Let's check the fuse, number 1, because the control module gonna need power and grounds to work, right? Without power and ground, control module is not going to wake up to produce any communication. Okay, let's do that. I'm gonna go find the fuse and let's do a quick test on the fuse, right? All right, so it's somewhere here, I believe the fuse box is on the Holden Cruze. Okay, all right, so we do have a little layout there for the fuse box, right? I'm trying to find the airbag fuse here. So right here it says airbag 15 amps. Sometimes we may have multiple fuse for airbag, sometimes only one fuse, right? So I don't see any other fuses here. Looks like we're only dealing with one fuse right here. So I'm gonna go and check my fuse for airbag 15 amps. Okay, it's a little bit hard to get in there, so I'll just check and I'll verify and I'll let you know, guys, is whether it's good or not. So battery negative, my test light, and then we're gonna look for power on the fuse. Obviously make sure the ignition is turned on. So I'm gonna go and find that fuse number, fuse 15 amps. I don't know what number it is, but fuse 15 amps. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but my test light is lighting up, so we know our fuse is good. All right. Okay. So just right inside the car here. Okay, I have already taken the plastic covers and everything around that gear stick where the module kind of sits, right? So it's gonna be a little bit difficult for me to show you guys everything here, I believe. I'll try. So right here we got my module, looks like an airbag module, right? There's a connector at the back here, yellow. Usually they will have a yellow wraps or the yellow connector on them. Okay, so that's where we're at. It's a little bit hard to get to, a little bit hard to do the testing, but let's see what we can do here. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly go and check the powers and ground. Now, usually, okay, this is not always the case, but usually you'll have one ground and one power supply for the airbag module. Okay, one ground and one power supply for the airbag module. There you go. This plug is disconnected. Let's have a look what we got here. We got, I can see a red wire there, bunch of other wires, and we got a black wire. So let's test the black for the ground and that red wire for the power. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn the ignition on obviously for the power, more than likely. May not be true, could have power all the time on ignition off as well, we don't know, but let's just turn the key on anyway. Alright, I might just go from the back here gently on that red wire. I got power on that red wire, guys. Okay, power is getting to the module. Let's check the ground. I'm gonna need some power supply for my test light for checking the ground. Alright, the black one is my ground, it's at the bottom. Sorry about the shaky camera because I'm doing it one hand here. Okay, so when I find a ground, my test light will light up, right? So let's try that ground quickly. There you go, the ground is good on that black wire. Okay, looking at the car, looks like very rusty. You can see all the metals, everything is rusty here. Maybe this module is a water damage, right? Looks very, very rusty. Okay, alright, that's where we're at. Alright, that was a little bit of struggle, but we got the powers and ground checked on my connector there. Where we're gonna go probably is a communication, right? So we're gonna have to find the wire at the module maybe, and then tap into that while it is connected to the airbag module, right? The blue wire on the pin 14. So let's do that quickly, see what the communication looks like. All right, let me find a ground for my scope, and I'm gonna go on pin 14 without my module connected for now anyway. Alright, pin 14 I'm tapped into, right on the connector, right? Just on pin 14, my channel A. And we got flatline 12 volt. Let me just change that time real quick. Let's go 1 second. Okay, now there is only 12 volt. Usually we may need to activate the communication line. Sometimes you can't just put it on and have the communication ready to rock and roll on the older, especially the older system. You need to send some command or communication ping from our scan tool, right? So what I'm trying to say is there is 12 volt. I don't know if it's the right wire or not. First of all, let's see what happens there. But what I'm trying to say is sometimes there will be no communication on the older vehicle. So what you have to do is from the scan tool trying to communicate with that module, and then you'll see some kind of communication getting to it or coming out of it, whatever the case is. In this case, we have no communication. So let's try that. Using the scan tool, and let's see what kind of communication we got on the scope. So basically, let's go and try to communicate the airbag, right? And let's go see what's there. You go. As soon as I start the scan tool communication, you can see I got some activities on that communication line. Okay, so let's go again. I'll hit the airbag communication on my scan tool, and let's go back to my scope, and you can see the communication is there. Okay, I'll just go and pause it, or I'll do it one more time so we'll have a little bit of more communication here. All right, that's enough. I'll just go and pause that. Okay, let me go back, and you can see we got communication is going from 12. It's going from 12 almost battery voltage down to almost, not quite 0 volt, but almost 0 volt. Okay, just above 0 volt. So we got communication happening. So this is what it looks like. This is not a CAN bus system. This is an older system. So is it a K line type? The signal, the communication is going from 12 volt flat line when it's not communicating, and then it will drop down to like a square wave. Okay, almost square wave, drop down to almost 0, not quite 0, almost 0 volt. That's your data transmission there. You can see happening when you send a ping with your scan tool. Okay, sometimes, like I said, you have to activate the system with the scan tool. Sometimes there's a standby and does nothing. Customer says, warning, some airbag blow if you move or rotate the module even if the key is off. Yes, that's true. That's very true. That's why they bolt it onto the flat surface in the middle of the car. So every time you want to take it off, make sure the battery is off, connector is off, discharge the system, whatever not. Okay, you got to take that safety precaution. Sometimes they have capacitors that stores charge. A lot of the manufacturer says leave the key off, battery disconnected for half an hour. That's the normal sort of instruction from the manufacturer to disable the charge from the capacitors. Sometimes even if the battery is disconnected, the capacitor could be enough charge to blow your airbag if you do something wrong. So that's definitely something we can apply when we're doing a testing on airbag system. Okay, John says the module has power ground and communication. The airbag module may be faulty. That's what I'm thinking. Next, let's go and put my second-hand module that I got here. All right, the new module coming up, guys. All right, that's my second-hand module they provided with me. This is an older system. I don't think they need programming or whatnot, right? There's a couple of bolts on that module, right? Do not take this off without disconnecting the connector at least, or the power supply to it. Okay, sometimes you can cause airbag to blow if you tilt this like this. Okay, they need to be flat like this on the surface. The reason some modules will do that because they will have a rollover sensors. So when the module is rolling like that, the sensor obviously gets triggered, right? And the sensor thinks the car is rolling, but we're only rolling the module. That can sometimes cause airbag to come off. Not all cars has that, but we don't know which car is going to have it, which car is not going to have it, so we're not going to take that chance. So let me just swap that module real quick, and then we'll see what happens with the communication. Okay, I'm just going to get some tools and undo this bolts here. Alright, before I connect the new module, I'll just leave the key off just in case. Right, so that's my module out. I think my camera is upside down, but never mind. Alright, we got the module out here, and I'm just visually looking at it if you can see, because I do see a lot of rust under there on the metal, so maybe some water damage or whatever not. And guys, I can definitely see there's a lot of rust and corrosion just on that gap, so I'm not gonna open it. Looks like it's got some water damage. Okay, all right, we're gonna put the new one in anyway. Definitely bolt that down on the chassis first, on the body first, before you connect the connector, just to be safe, right? I'll just put 1 or 2 bolts for now. I'll finish the job later. Alright, that's bolted up into the body on the floor there. Let me just connect the connector now. Boom. Okay, let's go and see what happens. Module bolted up, connected. Let me turn the key on and let's go to the scan tool. Okay, nothing's blown up so far, which is good. Alright, let me go to the scan tool now. And go back to Airbag. Boom, we got communication, trouble codes. Let's see. No trouble codes, live data. Boom, everything's working just fine. Okay, that's it. Needed a new airbag module, and it's a second-hand module. They just plug and play. Don't need to program, none of that. Calibration, none of that stuff. Okay, everything is working, guys. We got communication. So what did we learn? Check your powers and ground. Check your communication. If everything is there, visual inspection, obviously, right? We saw some rust under that floor there, under the center console. Definitely that was an indication there could be a water damage. And what else? And luckily the mechanic gave me the second-hand module, so that makes our life even much easier. But not all the time you're going to have all the parts readily available at the shop, right? So sometimes you're going to have to get into deeper diagnosis to 100% make sure it is the case, because module's not cheap. We don't want to put a module and find out it's, you know, we made a bad call. Okay, all right, that's it, guys. What do you guys thoughts on that? Any comments? Any suggestion where I did go wrong? I could have done something differently. What do you guys think?